these new conditions of risk and the pervasiveness of them in modern society created conditions, what he called reflexive modernisation. So in other words, we're into a new phase of modernity where the people who see risks unfolding onto society and onto themselves as parts of society see that institutions are not actually handling them properly, and they're even denying them. So, you know, he introduced the term, very interesting term, organised irresponsibility. And what he meant by that really was that institutions who are supposed to be controlling and managing these risks are essentially in a state of denial because of the new qualities of risk which aren't as controllable. By definition, they're not as controllable as those which went before. These are all human-generated risks, don't forget. They're not natural risks anymore, they're human-generated, crucial element of them.
1 in 10 deaths in London could be as a result of pollution.
And the institutions that are supposed to be in control are essentially denying their lack of control of those risks, the lack of ability to predict them properly, etc. And so people are actually reacting by becoming alienated from those institutions, mainstream institutions of modern society, which we're supposed to be giving trust and legitimacy to. We don't trust them to be responsible anymore. So this is what's lending, you know, he called it sub-politics, that new social movements, for example, the environmental movement from the 1970s onward, in all of its glorious variety, it's not the same thing all around the world by any means. So that the environmental movement as a kind of collective, very variable and locally focused, very often increasingly of course globally focused on issues like climate, but nevertheless often originating in very local circumstances, that actually this is what he called a new form of politics outside of the arenas of conventional democratic electoral politics that is actually generating critical reactions, alternative knowledges in the form of critical science on environmental issues, and so on and so forth. So that this is what he described as a reflexive dimension to modern society that's generating a new kind of modernity, where there's reflexive critical debate about what we mean by risk and what the evidence is for different kinds of risk. We can see this every day almost in the newspaper headlines on any issue you care to think of. Climate change, GM crops, nuclear power, and Fukushima, post-Fukushima, etc. There's so many issues of that kind.